Hey there, it's Lyn Lindbergh, and this is the recording of week 17 of my weight loss journey. That's right, I am 17 weeks into a focused weight loss journey that is focused on gaining strength, speed, energy, and eating very, very, very well in a way that's going to feel sustainable long-term for a lifetime, and in a way where I can hang out with friends and not be sad and worried about what I'm going to order to eat. In a way that I can go to the grocery store and buy things I actually like to eat and bring them home. And so when it's time to eat, I'm not choosing between this bowl of sadness and that bowl of something that tastes a little bit like dirt, all in the name of being healthy. Yeah, that's what's really going on here. We only get one life to live, and I want to live it as healthy as I can. I want to live it with more energy, more strength. And as those of you who have been on this crazy ship with me for a while, you know, I've recovering from several chronic health issues. And so I want to do my darndest to make sure I never go back to that chronically ill place, if at all possible. Yes. So we'll talk about that more on another podcast. But today, this is week 17, our report out here. I'm assuming you've listened to a bunch of these already. You know what's going on. If you don't, I assume you're going to go back and find week 0 and listen to a whole bunch of these weeks, because every week I do a couple things. I give the report out of stories of what's happening to me real time in my life with this, I call it weight loss journey, just to keep things simple. And then before I get on in front of the microphone here, though, I pause and think, what are the stories? Because I could talk all day about my week, right? And I'm not going to do that. So I also think about what are the things that seemed important to me that have elements in them that can translate to you if you're looking at a similar journey. And so a lot of these stories week over week are also different lessons, and they don't necessarily repeat. So I'm not saying the same story. Krista, I don't have a lot of the same stories going on anyway. So there you go. That's what's going on. So if you're new, go back and listen to a bunch of episodes. And if weight loss is not an appropriate topic for you, you already know that, and you probably already paused this and moved along anyway. So, okay, week 17. I started this week with finishing my travel to the South. Went down to Alabama. Loved that trip. And I finished the week with a girls' weekend at the beach. Well, the beach, yeah, I'll tell you about it more later. It was technically it was the beach, but it's August, and the highs where I was like 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, you heard that right, 68 degrees Fahrenheit in the Olympic mountain range. Both of these, the start and the end of the week, I was still, if you remember from last week, I was nursing some heel pain in my right heel. That was this weird nervy heel pain. And I've been doing a decent job of being a pretty good scientist about it, because it was one of those pains, those aches. And I know, you know that you've ever had one of those aches or those pains where something flares up, it hurts, it's tender, and it sits right in that really annoying space that says, well, maybe I'm not really injured. Maybe I can grit it and push through and ignore the pain. Yeah, I could probably do that. I need to exercise. I need to move my body. So maybe I'll do this and maybe I'll just be fine. And it sits in that space where you're also saying, no, stay off your heel. Let it heal. Let the heel heal. Let the heel completely heal. If you don't let the heel pain, blah, 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 blah. If you don't let the heel pain heal, try saying that 10 times fast. It could become a chronic thing for months or even years, or maybe it's, something that might end up needing surgery. And this could be like an 18-month process. So if you don't keep off your foot right now, it could be a disastrous thing. Yeah, I know you get it. I know you get it because we've all had those things. So what I've decided to do is I was only 1 week in. This was my second week, and I decided I am going to not put a big load on this foot. And what does this have to do with weight loss? It has to do with that old quote, injury-free. Yeah, injury-free is my fastest path to success. Injury-free is my fastest path to being able to gain strength and speed. And it is annoying as I'll ever get out when you have to back up and realize that, this heel is not doing what you want it to do. I know. I'm there right now. Leave me alone. No. But I'm proud of how I've been able to choose to do the right thing. So I am wearing supportive shoes, or I have a pair of flip-flops that are actually like really super supportive with arch support. So I am not walking around barefoot at all. Like even if I get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I'm throwing on my arch supportive shoes, really watching how much I walk, really making sure this heel heals well. And I got to report out that at the end of this second week, it is getting better. I'm hoping it's after the third week, it'll be totally better, but it's not yet. And long term, we want to be able to walk around on our bare feet. And that's good for our feet. So I know I'm 2 weeks into keeping supportive shoes on. So I know once I start walking around bare feet again, I'm going to need to kind of break my feet back in because I've like 2 weeks of no barefoot walking. So the muscles in your feet you have to use when you're barefoot walking aren't needing to be used. So I'm going to, it's a thing. Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about one more quick rapid fire of all the things I do every single week. I'm going to talk a little bit about, at the end of the last episode, I mentioned a little bit about the perception of time and how when we are especially in something like a health and wellness journey, how our perception of time gets really screwed up. So I'm going to continue that conversation this week. Talk a little bit about the last half of my trip in Alabama and how eating did not go well. Talk a little bit about the beach trip, how that went, and then we'll do a quick summary and roll up there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the wine bottle that I broke trying to open up. Yeah, that's coming. So if you have enjoyed these episodes and they have in any way helped you reach your goals and get a vision of how you can do this, share this with a friend. We are on every podcast player out there. I mean, even including Pandora and Amazon and like all the ones you've never heard of before. We're on Spotify. We're on all of them. So just tell your friends, say, hey, it's this cool podcast, Couch to Active. Just type in the words Couch to Active, Lyn Lindbergh. There you go. And you'll see them there and you can just spread the word. That's really the best way for us to spread. Yeah. Okay. Rapid fire. You've heard these before, but it's important to keep reminding ourselves over and over and over again. All these things are in play in addition to what we're going to talk about this week. Here we go. These are things that help with the success of the weight loss journey. Hardly any alcohol, hydration, managing stress, daily strolls outside, exercising, sleeping well, taking naps when I need, eating real food. Let me say that again, eating real food, balancing, eating my minimum of my protein, my minimum fat, and ensuring I get in my minimum fiber. Doing all that and staying in a calorie budget. And when you do all of that, there's no way your carbs can go too high, but this is not keto. Making sure my kitchen is food safe. So there's not crap in my kitchen to tempt me when I am having a not quite so gritty moment. planning meals, keeping my sights at 6-week trends, weighing myself every day, but not letting myself get worried about day-to-day fluctuations, keeping an eye on what's happening over 6 weeks, owning the work I'm doing, owning my process, not letting other voices, not letting people get into my head and throw me off and say, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? No, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know how to do this. We're 17 weeks in. I'm making really good progress. So I got it. And I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling more energetic. And as I am losing the weight, I am seeing, this is what's exciting. I'm seeing more definition in my legs. My abs, I have a ways to go on my gut, but my abs are already starting to show through. Pretty cool. Yeah. I've got some biceps and triceps starting to pop a little bit better. And I've still got a little ways to go here. So that's pretty great. So let's take a look at our first topic here. The perception of time when we go on a weight loss journey or any kind of health and wellness journey. One of the reasons that tracking becomes important for a weight loss journey is because our sense of how long this thing is taking and our sense of how much we're improving is totally screwed up. I mean, you get up in the morning, and you can get up and weigh yourself and you're like, all right, I weigh almost the same thing I did yesterday. Then you get up the next morning, you weigh yourself. I weigh almost the same thing I did yesterday. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. You get up the next morning. I weigh almost the same thing. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. My pants, they fit just about the same as they did yesterday. Day after day after day after day after day. We never see a big change week over week. Every single week, we do this health and weight loss thing. From one week to the next, we never feel different. So how motivating is that when you're like, I'm going to embark on this journey. I'm going to do this thing. And 1 week after the next week, after the next week, if we always are comparing ourselves from the day before or the week before, we never feel different. Today, I feel no different than I did last week. Last week, I felt no different than the week before. The week before that, I never felt different. The week before that, never felt different, right? Yeah, I know. But I hear you right now. But Lynn, look. You've almost lost 25 pounds. Look, you're doing amazing. You're doing awesome. And you're right. This is going great. This is going awesome. But week over week, day after day, I never feel different. But if I compare myself now, I have clothes that I have shrunk out of. I have clothes I can fit into. I've got more definition in my legs, my abs, my arms. My face is looking thinner. I have friends saying, hey, you actually look really great. The word they're using is glowing. And yeah, now you already know this is all about health, eating well, health. So this isn't starving myself to quickly drop weight. We know this. So let's not even worry about going there. We know what we're doing here. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, please go back and listen to previous episodes. It's important. So that's just something when we do this weight loss thing, we've got to remind ourselves it has to be something we enjoy. It has to be food we actually like to eat. It has to be ways of cooking that we'll actually do, that doesn't bust the bank, that doesn't taste like bark dust and dust mites and something that makes me curl my nose because I'm kind of like gonna gag a little bit. Like we can't. And if you're doing that, if you're like, I'm just gonna plug my nose and live on protein shakes, or I'm just gonna, just kind of gag down these things I don't like to eat. It is a plan of failure. It's not going to work. And so that's why part of the reason is because we don't feel any different 1 week after the next. It's only after we played the game for a long time, that months, that we look back and say, okay, wow. This is also why the scale can be a really good tool, because all the other non-scale victories are super important. All the non-scale victories are actually what we're going for. Strength, speed, endurance, energy, all of that, all those non-scale victories, better metabolic health, better heart health, better cardiovascular strength, all those things, less brain fog. I mean, that's actually what we're going for here. But the scale is really the one way we can measure it easily. And so that's why, if the scale is not right for you, the scale is not right for you. Totally fine. The scale has been a really valuable tool for me that way, because it helps me say, oh, wow, look what I've done. If I had no scale numbers, it would be harder for me to be objective. But I know, is that not weird? I mean, I want to say that I have the skill to just take body measurements and look at myself in the mirror and, feel my calves and be like, oh yeah, there's more muscle there. I feel like I wish I was like a superhuman robot thing that could do that and be completely objective, but I'm not. I'm a human. So I need these objective measures to help me. So it's important. And when I pause and I look, I'm like, yeah, clothes are fitting better. I have more energy. I'm hardly taking naps anymore. And when I do lay down to take naps, I actually haven't been falling asleep. That's pretty awesome. I've been waking up before my alarm clock more than ever and feeling like I'm ready to go. Though that's why we're doing this. And that's super, super duper excited. So 2 trips we had. We finished out the Alabama trip, and I'm glad you enjoyed the PBT story from last week. Oh my gosh. I'm still like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was last week. What was that? Week 16? Yeah. And I was so proud of myself when I told you on the way to Alabama, I packed all my meals. I'm so fabulous. Look at me. And I didn't buy any food at the airport because I just ate the meals I packed for myself. Ha ha, da 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 da. Yeah, that is not what happened on the way home. And that's not what usually happens at all on the way home. So on my way home from Alabama, the last half of Alabama, I had some real emotional eating that I did not regret one single bit. I didn't go crazy overboard with calories, but the last morning I was there, well, first of all, the heat was making me a little nauseous. I was waking up kind of just like feeling a little sick. My body was not used to the heat and the humidity. And so that was making it harder to kind of eat in general. And then the last morning I had, like morning, early afternoon with my son, we went grocery shopping with my son. And, I just felt really, really proud and really privileged. I took my son to 2 grocery stores, took him to a nicer grocery store, and was like, okay, this is a smaller, nicer grocery store, but let's get you some nice organic produce. If you can choose between an organic apple and a regular apple, and the organic ones look good, get the organic apples. I don't care if they cost a little more. You are worth it. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So right now in college, the status quo is kids are going to be eating like crap. I think I said kids are going to be eating like shit. My son does not swear. I'm so proud of him because I swear like a sailor sometimes and he doesn't. I don't know. No, like he really doesn't. Proud of that young man. So that was a really neat rite of passage as a mother to know my son's going to be buying his own groceries. And now I'm helping to pay for him. So of course that makes it easier, but I'm really saying, hey, do this, eat healthy. And then we also went to Walmart so he could kind of see what was there too. And there's lots of good stuff at Walmart. Don't get me wrong. and some of the other things that are like great at Walmart and cost less. So we're like, let's do that. So we did both of those, brought them all in. And then he's like, Mom, I can make us waffles for breakfast. Now, these were protein, what are they? Kodiak protein, and he put eggs in them. But even that's something that doesn't really fit into how I eat. But are you kidding me? I ate my son's waffle that he made for me. Heck yeah, totally. And then when lunchtime came, can you guess? If you've been on this journey with me all these weeks, oh my gosh, I might even cry telling you. I have to laugh so I won't cry. There we go. Whew, that'll help dull the emotions. I'm not kidding. Oh gosh. Okay. He wanted to go to Wendy's. Yep. So I got and I was feeling sick. I didn't get my burger. I actually just got some French fries because I couldn't stomach anything else. I think it was just the emotions, breathe, Lynn, breathe. So that was really great. Was that emotional eating? Fuck yeah. Do I regret it? No. Did I order the medium fries instead of the small fries? Yes. But did I order the large fry? No. But I wasn't going to miss out on that special time with my son. Oh, yeah. So, holy cow. I haven't cried about him in days. So I got home, had a few days alone, which was actually really lovely. My house is going to stay clean. Got a whole bunch of couch active work done, which was great. And then thank goodness I had a beach trip planned with a friend of mine. However, because I was like, I cannot be alone this first weekend. However, my friend couldn't make it after all. I was like, what do you mean you can't make it? So then while I'm in Alabama, long story short, I text a relative of mine, a cousin, and I was like, hey, cousin, come. Cousin couldn't come. So then like 4 days before the trip, I'm inviting other people, and I ended up having a couple of dear friends who were able to make it. I didn't tell them till later that they were my third choice. But here's the important piece of who I invited and what this has to do with my health and wellness. All three of those people who got invited, my first friend, the family member, and my other friends, before I sent out an invitation, I used to go through and think to myself, oh, who should I invite? Who are my friends? Who have I not gotten together with? Whose like turn is it? Like that's kind of how it was, more of an out of obligation kind of thing. I've quit doing that. And I pause and I think to myself, who is really committed to growth? Who's committed to personal growth? Who builds me up? Who supports me? Who supports my goals? Who supports what I want to do with my life? Who are my friends who know how to slay their own dragons? So when we get together, we can talk about how we are dragon slayers and really support each other and leave feeling supported and loved and having deeper relationships. And that's how I decided who was going to get invited to this trip. So if you're listening and you were invited to this trip, because I think oh my gosh, how many people were there? 8 by the time it was all said and done that got invited, but I had 2 friends there. Yes. Yeah. So what that has to do with my health and wellness goals is it's another layer. It's another one of those complex layers of the onion of building a life and a lifestyle of people and surroundings that are going to be supportive of you. And I know very well we don't always get to choose who's in our life. We don't always get to choose who we live with. We don't get to choose everybody. Trust me, I know. And I've got some of that, but hardly any right now. Because right now I live alone. And if I hang out with someone, it's because I invite them into my house or I leave my house to spend time with them. I pretty much have control over who I'm spending my time with. And it has made a huge positive difference in my life, more than I think I could have ever guessed. And this has been years of work in the making, years of overcoming, like, oh gosh, I should invite so-and-so because, whatever, bullshit. It's like, no, I am looking out for me. Now, there is that back in my head that was like, oh my gosh, what if I offend someone? And I have to do some work to let that go. But when I brought my girlfriends over, they're really busy people. The two that made it couldn't make it the first night. And I was there alone the first night. And it was pretty darn awesome. I love being there alone. And I brought a bottle of white wine. Yep, you know my habit here, don't you? But there was no wine bottle opener at this cabin I was at. And I didn't bring one. I'm not. And so I was like Googling like how to open a bottle of wine when you don't have a wine opener. And I was trying this trick to open the bottle of wine where they said like find a screwdriver and jam it in the cork of the bottle at an angle and then just kind of wiggle that thing out and you can pry it out. That's kind of what I was trying. There were other things where they said take a stick and shove the cork down into the bottle. I wasn't strong enough that I couldn't do that. Everyone said that was the easiest one. So I was like, I was going to pry it out because there was another one that said take a match or a lighter and heat up the neck of the bottle underneath where the cork of the wine bottle is. Heat it up so that it'll get so hot that the difference in pressure will push the cork out of the bottle. That seems scary to me. So anyhow, I had my screwdriver and there was a screwdriver I found. I shoved it in the cork of this wine bottle, the neck of the wine bottle. Yeah, you already know what happens, don't you? Working it as carefully as I can, getting like chunks of that cork out, thinking I got all the night long. I can do this. And next thing I hear is this chink. I was like, oh. The neck of the wine bottle cracked right down the middle, all the way to the top of the bottle where it bulges out. I have worked so hard at healing my gut that there is no way I was going to risk drinking glass. So that the bottle cracked, even if there's a microscopic shard of glass, I mean, I thought like, oh, I could just pull the glass off and like quickly dump out half the bottle of wine and then it'll probably be just fine, like, nope, not even worth it. Not even worth it. Thankfully, it wasn't that expensive of a bottle of wine. And then I was too lazy to drive somewhere. I was like 10 minutes from the nearest store. I was too lazy to drive somewhere to get another bottle of wine. So dumb luck, I didn't drink alcohol that night, and that was probably a good thing. You too can be a victim of dumb luck that helps you and supports your healthy habits. So then my friends came, lovely, lovely time. It wasn't centered around food. We had snacks, but I've been on this merry-go-round enough time with snacks to know that I have to be really careful with those nuts because nuts are good for you, but they pack a gajillion calories. Cheese is good for you, but it packs a gajillion calories. So I knew to just eat a little bit, give my body time to realize it got the calories and I would be fine. So all said and done, it actually did really well. My food-wise, I did pretty well. And calorie-wise, I did pretty well. I totally missed the boat on fiber. Completely missed the boat on protein. My fat was through the roof because I pretty much ate processed salamis and cheese. Had a little bit of wine, but I am such a freaking lightweight right now that on night number 2, I had less than 2 glasses of wine. 3 of us shared a bottle. Yeah, less than 2 glasses. And I was just like, that's plenty. I was totally buzzed. And then I had it in my head. I was like, oh yeah, this is girls' weekend. I'm totally going to have that, finish that second glass or have a little more. Totally. I just need to drink some water first. But then I drank a bunch of water and I was having such a lovely time with my friends who slay their dragons. And it was such a wonderful experience being out in the wonderful weather with them that I was like, I'm fine. I don't really even want another glass of wine. And so I didn't. And so that was really exciting. And it just made me feel good that I'm building the structure stronger than I ever have before, where I've really am creating my life, designing my life in a more intentional way than I ever have before. All right, so let's take a look at our summary here, what we did for the week. I'll go back another week and talk about exact protein, fat, fiber on another week, but it's pretty much same old, but this week, my fat was a little through the roof and my fiber was a little low, which caused me to be a little hungry. The start of that week was Alabama, where I had some of that real stress eating. The end of the week was girls' weekend. Nutritionally wasn't the best, but it wasn't horrible, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Start of the week, I weighed 158.2. End of the week with all of that, 157.6 for a net loss for the week of 0.6, just over a half a pound. I'm happy with that. I am super happy with only a half a pound in a week with all the travel I did, the stress of dropping off my son, all of that. That's like pretty happy, pretty darn happy with that. Total loss. This is where I'm like, oh, come on. Total loss, 24.4 pounds. I am 0.6 pounds from a 25-pound mark. I am so close. This is motivating. And part of my little devil on my shoulder is like, yeah, well, if you didn't do any stress eating at all, you would have met that 25-pound mark and you'd be that much further ahead, Lynn. And you know what? I don't know. I can take that devil on my shoulder and be like, "Big out of here, dude. Quit talking to me." My prediction is next week, week 18, I will make that 25-pound mark, and that will be exciting. I don't have any big things getting in the way. I'm pretty much home alone this upcoming week. So I should with a capital S, should make that 25-pound mark. All right. So what's most important for you to remember from all of this? I want you to go back and even re-listen to the beginning of this if you need to, where we talked about how week over week, we don't ever feel like we're making enough progress. Week over week, from one week to the next, we never feel different. Day over day, we never feel different. It just isn't the way it works. And that's why the lifestyle piece becomes so important. That's why doing it right 95% of the time is so important. So someday when your kid goes to college and he makes you a waffle and then he wants to go to Wendy's, you can do it all. And just know you're living life, because 95% of the time you're doing it in a way that you actually like it. That's what I want you to remember. It's really got to be about loving our lives more now than we did before. Because if we don't, it'll never stick. All right. Wish me luck for week 18, and we'll see you same time next week. If I can help you with this, actually, since putting out these episodes. We've got quite a few more new clients who've come in and said, hey, Lynn, I want to work with you. Help me figure this out. And they're seeing some great successes. So I'm going to start advertising this a little more aggressively now, because we're just seeing a lot of success everywhere, all around. And I want you to have that too. So head on over, find me at couch2active.com. That's couch2active, couch2active.com. Email, phone number, chat bot on the website, all of it. You'll be able to reach me, or you can just sign up for personal training. Just sign yourself up. And we'll get you rocking and rolling on these goals yourself. That's couch2active.com. We'll see you there.